Hey everyone. Now that Saw X has been out for a while, I figured it's as good a time as any to update my franchise ranking. I don't know if I'm going to be spoiling Saw X, but everything else is fair game, so let's dive right in. Starting off, my number 10 is Saw 3D. This is the one that almost killed the franchise. This was rock bottom. Throughout most of the series, the acting has been fairly consistent, but in this movie, the acting is just awful overall. Cary Elwes is back, but for some reason his voice is different. Like, it's low and gravelly. I don't know why. I don't get it. It just sounds weird. There are a couple solid kills, but most of them have too much CGI blood. The problem is that in the process of making the movie 3D, they had to make the blood so that it looks pink when you watch it in 2D. Also, there's one kill that's just mean-spirited, and I am referring to Bobby's wife, of course. She did nothing wrong. All she did was believe his lies and support him. I hate it. I genuinely hate it. The opening is at least decent. It's a solid concept, the idea of having a saw trap out in public like that. Unfortunately, the execution is kind of lacking, but it's still decent.
Same woman has played each of you for a fool, manipulating your love for her and causing nothing but pain. Her fun and games pushed you both to break the law to fulfill her material needs. She is toxic, and today, all of your transgressions will be made public.
He's fucking lying, Brad!
Now you must choose who will drop out of this triangle. For within 60 seconds, one of you must die. If you wish to save her, then the saws must be pushed all the way to one side or the other, sparing her while proving for good who is indeed the alpha male.
What are you fucking staring at, you motherfucker? Do something!
Are you both strong enough to walk away from what is destroying you? Or will you fight one more time for the heart that binds? You have 60 seconds to decide. Live or die. Make your choice.
The writing is bad, the plot twists don't really make sense, and the traps have lost a lot of their creativity. This movie is just stupid overall, even by Saw standards. My score is 1.5 out of 5. Number 9 is Saw 5. Most of the traps in this movie are fine, but the one with the nail bombs is just stupid. How is it not obvious that multiple people can fit in each hole? I mean, I get it. The people in the traps are selfish by nature. But even still, you'd think at least one of the ones who wasn't in the hole would have noticed that the holes are big enough and be like, come on, it's big enough, let me in. But no, nothing. Not that they got the chance, mind you, but still.
Blank. Blank. I got it.
Better luck next time, rich boy.
Survival of the fittest, my Anna!
Anyway, there are a couple pretty badass moments, and I do love the ending, even if it's not entirely earned. It's still pretty hardcore. If nothing else, Hoffman is a pretty good villain. Well, up until Saw 3D, then he just turns into the Terminator, which, not a fan. My score is 2 out of 5. Number 8 is Spiral. This has the distinction of being the only Saw movie whose twist I saw coming. And that's not a good thing, because they made it so obvious. They didn't make everything obvious, but like the one main reveal, the biggest reveal, they gave away. Partially because of what they showed, but mostly because of what they didn't show. Aside from that, it's fine. Chris Rock commits to a more serious role than usual. There's still some comedy, but it's mostly serious. And I will give him credit, it's a good performance. He's probably the only character who gets any development. I do love that this movie followed in the tradition of, was it Saw 6 or Saw 7? Of showing that this is a younger version of a character by having them wear a backwards baseball cap. I don't know why that cracks me up so much, it just does.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
The traps aren't anything groundbreaking, but they're good. This movie was not the fresh air that the franchise needed, but you know, it was something different. It's the only Saw movie where they only focused on the cop plot. Like in most of the other Saw movies, there's the trap plot and there's the cop plot. And at various points they will intersect. This is the one where it's just a cop plot because the traps are targeting cops. So that was pretty interesting. If not executed as well as it could have been. My score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 7 is Saw 3. I realize a lot of Saw fans put this one higher, but it's a very frustrating movie for me for one reason. Slow-ass motherfucking Jeff. The protagonist is supposed to be one of two things depending on whether they are the hero or the villain. In this case, they are the hero, so with the hero protagonist, you are supposed to root for them. But this man is so slow and indecisive that it's fucking infuriating. The one victim he does manage to save, he accidentally gets killed a few minutes later. What was the point?
Jeff, when the judge presiding over your case sentenced your boy's murderer so lightly, your soul never recovered. Now you have the power to sentence his soul straight to hell. Or you can forgive. The key that will free him is hidden inside your son's possessions. Possessions you have clung to for far too long. Now if you flip the switch on the incinerator underneath you, a fire will cleanse you of this obsession and destroy them all, leaving only the key remaining. It is also the key that will bring you closer to the man accountable for taking your child. He doesn't have much time, Jeff. Let the game begin.
Please get me out of here, please! What is that?
And also, I'm not a fan of villain Amanda. Shawnee Smith was really good playing a victim in the first two movies, but now that she's a villain, her performance isn't very good. The rest of the acting is fine, the draps are pretty good, and the drama actually works sometimes. For all of its problems, this is a pretty good ending to the original trilogy. No, not that one. That's the one. My score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 6 is Saw 4. I also seem to be in the minority in that I prefer 4 over 3. I mean, yes, it is at least partially a rehash of 3, but at least the hero is less frustrating to watch. The traps are good, the acting is solid, the climax is cool, and the twist is honestly pretty good.
They shall release us when the timer's up. Release me!
On the other hand, the editing uses too many stylized transitions, the writing is meh, and there's a bunch of stuff that makes no sense. My score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 5 is Jigsaw. I have one major problem with this movie. I have some minor problems too, but just one major one, and it's one of the twists. It's revealed that the main trap plot actually happened 10 years ago. Or rather, 10 years prior to the quote-unquote modern events. If that's true, how the hell were there flat-screen TVs? Literally, the only answer I can think of is that they're doing the same thing that some of the other Saw movies did, where they jump back and forth between two different time frames without telling you, except they're doing it more in a shorter period of time. Like when they cut to show you the victims in the barn watching what's on the TV, it's from the first game being played 10 years ago, but when they cut to the modern TVs, it's from the second game being played in the modern day. That is literally the only explanation I can think of. And then there's the other reveal, but I'll get to that in a minute. Beyond that, this is fine. It's pretty good. The acting is good, it's well shot and pretty well edited, regardless of whether or not my theory is correct. The characters aren't all smart, or at least their decisions aren't all smart, but they at least make mostly believable choices. And I do like that there is a reason they seem to be stumbling through these traps, which, again, is revealed that this trap took place 10 years ago. So they don't know about Jigsaw. Because this was before all of his shit was publicized. The mystery's pretty intriguing, and the traps are mostly solid.
I want to play a game.
Fuck you!
First, an offering of blood, no matter how little, will give you a green light to escape from this room with your lives. If you can release yourself from your demons, you can begin to shed the chains that those demons bring with them. Make the simple blood sacrifice that I've requested, or face severe consequences. The choice is yours.
My second biggest problem with this movie is the villain reveal, but I don't hate that as much because it makes sense if you accept that he's delusional. Yes, Jigsaw saved him to give him a fair chance, but that was it. He was never Jigsaw's apprentice. That was all in his mind. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 4 is Saw 2. This movie reminds me of the Lost World Jurassic Park in that they were going for more, bigger, better, and they succeeded at 2 out of 3. Because they did more, and they did it bigger, but they didn't quite do it better. The acting is good, the traps are solid, the music is cool, and the plot is more coherent than most of the other sequels, so I'll give it that. The nerve gas house party isn't quite as intriguing as the bathroom buddies from the first movie, but it works. And the characters we're given are at least interesting to watch. Even if they're not someone you can root for, they are at least someone that is entertaining to watch. So I will give them that much.
Down on your knee!
I'm afraid I can't do that.
Get him in restraints now. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford one, one will be appointed to you by the city.
He's clean!
Hey. Is this close enough?
Get his ass out of here.
Actually, I will need to remain here while you deal with your problem, Detective Matthews.
My score is 3 out of 5. Number 3 is Saw 6. This one was directed by Kevin Gruder, the editor of the first 5 movies, and honestly, I think he did a pretty good job. There's still stuff that makes no sense, but the plot feels less confusing than the last few, and the traps are some of the best in the franchise. Not just because of their designs. They force the subject, William, to make hard choices that affect people other than himself, which is fitting because this is the healthcare one. His job was in health insurance. So it's very fitting. In the shotgun carousel, he has the lives of 6 people in his hands, and he can only save 2. And when it comes down to the last 2 with 1 save left, he puts his hand in the trap before it stops, before he knows who it's going to select, indicating that he doesn't want to make the choice himself, he's just going to pick whoever's next. Also, the scene where Hoffman is about to be outed as Jigsaw's accomplice is just wonderful. Right now, you're feeling helpless.
Right now, you're feeling helpless.
That's symbolism in a Saw movie. Guarantee that line was chosen out of all the lines in the tape because that's exactly how Hoffman himself feels in the scene. Right now, you're feeling helpless.
We're getting there.
Come on, I thought you had something to show us.
Yeah, it's just I never really thought of him as being vengeful. You know? I mean, all the facts are there. Something doesn't sit right.
Listen, it's getting closer.
You know, there is an alternative. Let's say that Strom killed Seth Baxter specifically to set you up as an accomplice to Jigsaw. Okay. But there's a problem with that, though. On further analysis of Strom's fingerprints, it was found that the uric acid levels in the eccrine residue were inconsistent for an individual with an active epidural metabolism.
In other words?
In other words, when he left his fingerprints on the latest victim, Strom was already dead.
Right now, you're
There it
feeling
is.
helpless. Right now, you're feeling helpless.
Mr. Gruder, Saw 3D sucked, but in terms of Saw 6, well done. My score is 3.5 out of 5. Alright. Moment of truth. Number 2 is Saw, the original. There's one main reason this movie is better than any of the movies I've talked about so far. Restraint. James Wan knows when to hold back. He knows what to show and what not to show. When Dr. Gordon is sawing his foot off, you only get 1 or 2 quick shots of the ankle, and otherwise you just see his and Adam's faces.
No! Oh my God! Lawrence! Oh, what are you doing?
Lee Winnell is not a very good actor, but he's a solid writer, and Cary Elwes more than makes up for Winnell's subpar acting. Although, to Winnell's credit, he does give a good performance in 2 parts, in 2 scenes. When he has to watch Lawrence cut off his own foot, he absolutely sells the "what the fuck?" When Adam kills Zepp, he absolutely sells that rage. The car chase is kind of crap, but Adam's abduction scene in his apartment is excellent, and very much an indicator of the stylistic decisions that James Wan would make going forward in his career. My score is 4 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Saw X. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I am actually going to spoil this one a little bit, so spoiler alert. Look, the original has cemented its place in horror history, but this movie is better from both a technical standpoint and a writing standpoint. Look, no matter what idiots on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube say, John Kramer is a murderer. Just because he never killed anyone directly doesn't mean he's not responsible for their deaths. Just ask Charles Manson. Oh wait, you can't, he died in prison. With that being said, it was not hard for me to sympathize with him here. Nobody deserves cancer. Full stop. Another way this movie improves on its predecessors is Shawnee Smith's performance. I love her as the victim in the first 2 Saw movies, but I never bought her as the villain after that. Saw X is the first time where she actually gave a convincing performance as villainous Amanda. So, well done.
This is all your fault. You brought me into this. You brought me into this. Get it together, Gabby. No. I'm not the one addicted to Oxy, am I?
Gabriella's next. What?
Sometimes we get sucked into things that are against our nature. Drugs are as vicious as they are powerful.
We all have free will. Gabriella had her own free will. And if you can't handle this, how will you handle the rest of our work?
The acting overall is the best in the franchise. The traps are all pretty solid. Obviously, this is a Saw movie, so they do ask you to suspend your disbelief here and there, like with certain elements of the finale and certain reveals, let's just say. However, they don't really detract from the experience. Because John Kramer is a murderer, he is the villain, it is very satisfying to watch him get put in one of his own traps. Even though this is an interquel, so you know he's gonna make it, it's still satisfying to know that he's in pain. The man does not deserve cancer, but he definitely deserves to be put in one of his own traps. My score is 4 out of 5. Hey everyone, what's your ranking? Let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, tell me why. Try to be constructive. Then subscribe anyway. You'll be notified when I upload new videos, and then watch those and tell me why they suck, or where I've improved, or both. I have a Patreon. I've been uploading exclusive content there. Most of it is me reacting to my old tribute videos, but there's some other stuff there as well, such as my roommate and I reacting to Neil Blomkamp's Demonic last year. There's 2 tiers. The first tier is just access to the exclusive content. The second tier is you can commission tribute videos, and we can go over the details as needed. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.